Hey, today I wanted to have a little bit of fun. I'm going to do a song analysis, but I've never heard the song before. I'm going to look up Apple charts and see what the #1 song is today. And that's the song that we're going to analyze to see what is going on in that song to make it the most streamed song today. So here we are, we're inside Apple. We're going to the global daily top 100. Now, I hope this is a good song. A lot of R&B, hip hop, that sort of thing. I don't know a lot about it. So if it's #1, which is pretty likely, it could be interesting. Let's have a look here. Redrum by 21 Savage. Never heard of it. I'll put the headphones on. I will play you bits and pieces of this song because of copyright. I can't play the whole thing. I'm going to listen to the whole thing and I'll be able to break down parts with you, but I can't just obviously play the song. I'm going to link it below if you want to check out and have a listen for yourself of the whole song. That would be helpful. Let's go. Guns. Red Rum. I thought it was Red Rum. Red Rum. Man, I don't like this song at all. Can I do a new song? Can I call a new song? I can't do the lyrics. It's just there's too much profanity. Sorry, crew. We're not doing the #1 song. Let's do the #2 song. And we'll pretend it's #1. Hey, I'm Craig. Beautiful Things by Benson Boone. Boney. Man, that was hard to listen to. Try again. Guitars. I like it. Love that.
I recall.
This dude can sing. I like that subtle little rhythm halfway through the first verse there.
I know the things he gives me, he can take. Oh, I hope I don't.
It's like it fully changes to verse 2. Changes the whole vibe. It's like 2 different songs. Got the head sway going, which is a good indicator that it's in 6/8 if you find yourself swaying like that. Kind of back to the verse. It's like the bridge was in the middle of the song there.
Wait till it's gone. Oh, the things that I've got.
Cool ending. All right, we've got an interesting little song here. So as it started, I thought, yeah, this is it's pretty pop. It's kind of folky, acoustic. And then it just went into this kind of loud, sort of rocky thing about a minute into the song. And it kind of, then it straddled between the two. Then it went back. So it was kind of I reckon this might have been a song that he kind of pieced together, had a really good intro, had another good kind of song and put it together. I can't imagine him sitting down and writing this whole thing in one go because of that kind of extreme change that it does there. All right, so first thing I'm learning is that intro, where I said it completely changes, it goes from 4/4 into 6/8. So it actually changes timings in there. This is so bizarre for a top 40 song, like a song that is charting really high, to be that kind of diverse change from 4/4 to 6/8. So good stuff. It's good to see some of that sort of stuff in the top 40. Very risky, definitely not the way I teach songwriting because it's just hard to pull off. So congrats to this dude who has been able to pull it off. Maybe he's just gone free time. It wouldn't surprise me. Definitely free time. This guy's nuts. It's breaking all the conventions here. Crazy. All right, let's say that's the signature change. Goodness me, what's he done? Oh, I found it. I found the BPM. 105 in the 6/8 part. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is testing me. What are we doing here? Thought this would be fun. Let's get plan on and keep mapping it out here while I'm working this out. This is a doozy. Love it. Wow. The voice on this guy is amazing. Let's put this song into 2 parts. We've got our intro. So it kind of, it's a song in itself. It's got an intro, it's got a verse, it's got a chorus, but then it completely changes and we don't kind of go back to that. Let me just double check these 2 verses aren't the same melody. So melodically, those 2 verses are similar, although one's in 4/4 and one's in 6/8. So they're sung slightly different, but he's using the same notes and the same sort of melodic phrasing. Maybe you couldn't decide whether this song was better in 6/8 or 4/4. They both kind of work because what you've got is the verse and pre-chorus is almost the same as the verse and pre-chorus in the new section, but obviously it sounds totally different. The instrumentation and everything is different. but melodically it's kind of similar. So I'm going to chalk that off as verse pre-chorus hook, verse pre-chorus hook. So have we gone back to just being a regular structure, but it's kind of different in the way that he's made it feel? Wow, that took me I cut out so much of the video just then because I was trying to get my head around this, trying to figure out which parts are the same. It ends up being conventional, but it's presented in a really unconventional way, which I think is brilliant. I'm just OCD fixing that bit up there. That's why it's charting, because he's done what works. There's a story, there's a flow, but the way that he's done it is really interesting. So we've got first verse and pre-chorus in 4/4, and then he turns and hits his chorus in 6/8, then his next verse is in 6/8, and then his last chorus is in 6/8. So because there's enough change in there, this verse here is kind of acting as the bridge. We haven't heard that in the song yet, even though if you want to analyze the melody, it kind of is in there here, but it feels different. We've gone a setup, then a chorus, and then a change. So he hasn't really repeated a whole lot of things here, other than these 1-2 choruses that we've got. So it's a 3-minute song: verse, pre, post/turn, chorus, verse/bridge, chorus. So that's how it works. Let's have a look at chords. I got this handy tool that can analyze the chords in the song for me and kind of give me it's pretty good. It's not always accurate. So E flat, B flat, F. Should I get my guitar? We'll have a look. Sounds pretty good. Which would make it what? Key of? Any answers at home? Yeah, B flat. So we're looking at 4, 1, 5. 4, 1, 5, 6, essentially. And then there's a C minor in here, which is a 2. Yeah, that makes sense on that little edgy bit there. It's 4, 1, 5, 6. I like that. That's pretty much repeated throughout the song. 4, 1, 5, 6. Sometimes he leaves off that 6 to leave a suspense hanging. Sometimes he adds in, or one time rather, he added in that C minor, the second, to just hold that tension up. So there's a little bit of variation there in the voicings, but fundamentally, it's just those 4 chords looping through. I pull up this because I thought it'd be cool to draw in dynamics. So I think something you should really be trying to do in your songs is bring a storyline with the music. So you take out the narrative of the lyrics. Does your song tell a story? And the best way we can do that is with dynamics and tensions and releases, and just so the song has a flow. What you don't want is your song to look like this. So if this is volume and intensity, it just starts and it runs the whole way through. So what this song definitely brings us is a ton of dynamics. So let's map that out. So what I'm going to do here is that is quiet and that's loud. So we'll look at these sections I've got written up the top here. A quiet intro. That's going to sneak up a little bit. When he gets that second verse, there's this tiny little bit of rhythm that comes in, which gives us enough to make that a step. So he's definitely not built the intensity, but he has brought in some tension in that part so that it does kind of lift a little bit and you think, oh, there is more to this. You know, this isn't just an acoustic song. Something else is coming. I can feel it. What's this pre-chorus do? So again, a straight step up. Definitely not intense yet, but it's brought in some other guitar parts, some synths and things, so that lifts again. And I reckon that bit drops down a bit. And now, this is what I kind of want to do. So what this does here, this is fun. When he says, man, I'd have to lose you, there's this big sort of build up, this big, oh, here we go. This is what I've been waiting for. You've kind of drip fed me these little extra parts, and here's, it's coming here. But it's a bit of a trick, isn't it? Then instantly, it drops down to, I would say, less intense than what this part was. Just back to a guitar, but it is climbing because his voice comes in. Okay, cool. So that's a slight build there. Then we're going to jump up intensity a little bit here as he kind of brings in that snare, starts pumping those drums, adding those extra divisions, adding intensity on those hits just makes us feel like something's coming. And that's just building tension and dynamic, right? His big roaring voice, I reckon, takes this all the way up here, like a nice big, probably at maximum, I think. Let's just go all out for that. But that's the loudest part of the song. Stays up there for the post-chorus. Okay, when he gets to the hook, which is kind of like the chorus line, please stay. See how in tune that was? Man, I could have sang this song for him. It kind of drops right down. And I'm guessing that's so that this verse has somewhere to go. We want that to feel like it's a new part that comes in. And if it just came straight off the back of this loud bit here, it's going to sound like less of it. So to put in this little 2-bar part where it's quiet is going to give us some room to drop in that verse. But that's still pretty quiet. What's halfway through this? Yeah, adds in some different instruments, which just gives us one extra little level there. And then that's climbing, building tension, and we're going all in on this chorus again. And then the end of the song just falls off. So this is a really good dynamic song. He's kind of moving us back and forward. So this is pretty typical of good songwriting here, where you've got build, you've got places where it dips, you got bits where tension gets built, you got bits that fall away. So the whole song's kind of moving, and that makes you want to listen to the whole thing. Because once you've heard this part, you haven't yet heard this part. You know what I mean? If it's all the same, if there's no dynamic, once you've heard the first 30 seconds, you've pretty much heard the whole song. It's dynamic, it's changing. You want to kind of plug in and see where it's going. So let's have a look at some arrangements. What sort of instruments has he got going on here? This whole first verse and intro is just arpeggiated electric guitar. Just a doom boom da, doom doom da, just hitting those dominant notes in the chord. Once you get into this little ramp here, just brings in really subtle drums. Not enough to like provide a rhythm, but enough to provide a, what's happening? Where's this going? Lots of space before that pre-chorus, which I think is really cool. Rather than kind of building that up, he's just let that sit. So then when that drops in, comes with some impact. We've got some bass guitar in there. Again, just a little bit dirtier tone on that guitar, just to kind of make that a bit bigger. And then some, I don't think it's slide guitar, but he's sliding on the guitar just with his finger, I think. Adding a big reverby delayed sound, just adding some atmosphere. Again, he's not wanting to unleash, but he is adding sound. And I think just letting us know there's more, stick around, there's more coming. And the drum kit's a bit more in there. He's hitting the ride, he's hitting the snare, whereas before it sounded like it was either just a kick or just some floor tom before. Hits that minor second there for the only time in the song that bridges the turn. So now instead of arpeggiating the chords, we're still using those same chords, but we're now chugging those. So like a palm mute, which again just says we're going somewhere here, adds a bit more of a rock element to it. The drums come in like a bit of a halfway through the chorus here. Drums are starting to tuk, tuk, tuk. And then this part's his voice, hey? So he doesn't bring in a whole lot of instruments before that drop in the chorus, but his voice just starts to soar. Actually drops out there, the bass, whoom, bass hits that note, the rest of the instruments drop out. Again, to give that space, the best way to bring in a hard-hitting chorus is to take some stuff out before it so that there's that contrast. Pretty confident that's just guitar, bass, drums, very rhythmic. Ding, 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 ga, bum, bum, dum, ga. Similar to what he was doing here with those sort of reverb delayed single note stuff. Some riffage behind it. It's not a riff as much as he's kind of following the melody a bit. Very rock sound, guitar, bass, drums in there. Sounds great. And that post-chorus, whoa, kind of puts some extra voices in there. There's some, wouldn't say choir, but there's definitely some group vocals in the background doing the whoa, making that bit nice and big. I'm singing so well in key today, you noticing? And I think the guitar's a bit more riffy there, a bit less rhythmic and more like a few sort of single note things, maybe some octave runs, something like that. They've dropped out. This is the first time I've heard piano in the song. So that hook now, those same chords are arpeggiated first time through, chugged the second time through, third time through, it's piano. All right, what's this second verse doing? Sounds like there's an acoustic guitar chugging the chords, similar to what we had back here. Our piano is dominating the chords. Then there's a full beat on the drum kit there. So again, a different sort of arrangement to what we've heard. All the way through, we've got like familiar sounds, and then just added with new sounds, and now they all kind of combine for this chorus. But that sounds cool, those big vocals in there. Super similar across this whole chorus and post-chorus, very similar to that first one, if not identical. And then this last bit here, just some wailing guitars kind of finishing off where they were in the chorus. And then the end is the same as this sort of post-chorus, where it's just the piano chords over that quiet, I've written quiet chorus. It's like the chorus melody, the hook, if you will, just those quiet piano chords. So super interesting. I love that. I feel like we've unpacked the music really well. I learned a lot from the music part of this. I feel like we've got what I thought was unconventional. I thought, man, I've been teaching songwriting and I'm just going to have to kind of reverse everything I've been saying because this dude's number 2 with none of those rules in play. But when I actually analyze it, he has got all the rules in play and he's just done it in a really clever way. So this is what I talk about, where it's songwriting in the box, which means there's a way to write a song that people will respond to it. And how you fit things into that box is where you get your creativity from. It's like how your storyline moves through your dynamics, how you put repetitive parts in so that people can sing along to it. The 3-minute thing, the structure thing, they're kind of like these guidelines, but what you do within that is what makes it creative, and it's what makes you go number one. If you're just going to carbon copy what everyone else has done, it's not going to work. But if you can find little things that can stay within the guidelines of effective songwriting, you get a song like this, and it goes really, really well. I'll be checking out more of this guy's stuff, see if it's kind of a common thing that he does, or whether this is a kind of an outlier of a song. I teach songwriting. I've got a free songwriting course where I actually write a song from scratch using some of these techniques that has been used here by Benson. Some different ones. I kind of explain how you go about writing melody, how you come up with those chords. We be intentional about writing in these dynamics and things. So if you want to check that out, I've got a link below where you can go straight to the course. Or if you want to watch part 1 of that, that is just up here. Or just generally, what did you think that first time you heard it and there's that big change? I would love to hear that. If you want to see that video and write a song with me, it's just up here.